Hi there, Glocal citizens. Welcome back to the podcast that inspires a borderless mindset around manifesting a new world. I am your host, Florence Adu, coming to you from an April showers kind of morning here in New York. And we're happy about it because April showers bring May flowers. And it's already blooming right now. So it's really nice to see the flowers budding with the trees budding with flowers. And it's just an energy that's different. So it's always nice to be in places that experience seasons when they experience seasons. My guest is also in a place of seasons. And we met while I was on my epic trip to Kenya this year. And she was offering a masterclass as part of the Africa Tech Summit that was in Nairobi. And I was so interested and intrigued by the story she was telling, the information she's providing, and then also the role that she's in right now. So I'll get to her bio and we can take it from there. She is a commercial and growth leader with a foundation in marketing, brand, and communications. Her expertise lies in a unique combination of strategic positioning and operational discipline, which she uses to successfully build and scale businesses. She brings this perspective to her work as Senior Vice President, Commercial and Growth at Fincra. Across the leadership roles that she has held over the past 5 years at Fincra, she has consistently focused on the intersection of commercial growth, brand, and communications, enhancing Fincra's go-to market strategies, refining its value proposition, and ensuring scalable systems support business goals. Today, in her commercial and growth leadership role, she combines that narrative craft with revenue-minded discipline, helping align teams, messaging, and market motion to support sustainable growth. She oversees the management of commercial revenue strategy, strategic partnerships, and market expansion, converting Fincra's technical capabilities and vision into commercial success. Her portfolio of expertise includes work for organizations such as microfinance fintech Aella, Wild Fusion, Africa's leading integrated marketing communications agencies, one of Africa's leading integrated marketing communications agencies, the Republic Agency, Oando PLC, Lafarge Africa, UBA, Chivita 100%, and more. With responsibilities spanning digital strategy, content development, campaign execution, community management, growth, and PR. When she's not wearing the commercial or growth hat, she dedicates her time to podcasting. Woohoo! We got a fellow podcaster here. Jemima Lewis.
Yay.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. You said you made a little bit of edits and you're like, hope you do justice. That was like perfect.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
I mean, you are a dynamo, so I can't wait to get into the conversation. So let's get started. Where are you from? Where are you local? And what is your craft?
Okay, I'm from Nigeria, but now I currently live in the UK. So I would say that Nigeria is home, right? In terms of origin and, my identity. And, UK is currently where I am local, right? Where I'm living, my day-to-day life. My craft is commercial growth. I work across strategy, partnership, storytelling, marketing, growth, turning complex technical and infrastructure ideas into something that people can trust, into something can use, into something that people believe that is going to work, right? And that's pretty much what my craft is. And, where I'm from and, where I currently live and where I'm local, right?
So let's get a little bit deeper into the from and local of it. So Nigeria is a vast country. We have a lot of guests from Nigeria. Where is your from in Nigeria? And where is your local in the UK?
So I'm from Nigeria. I am from Ekiti State, right? Southwest. I'm from Ekiti State. In the UK right now, I currently live in the north, up north area. So in Leeds is where where I currently reside. But I didn't used to live in Leeds when I came to the UK. So I was living at Halifax, somewhere a bit more, still up north, but it's like this very small village, small community.
Yeah.
It was just like that thing where you're coming into a new country and you're trying to figure out, okay, where is the best place I can stay? Where can I find like-minded people, or even where can the money I have, where is it? Where can it take me to jigger? So it's like I started in Halifax, and then now I live in Leeds. I think one of the things that people ask me about living in the UK is, why are you not living in London? Because like that's usually the most where everyone, usually talk about. But, places like Leeds, Manchester, up north, all of these places, they are cool as well. And, they give you the opportunity to be able to do things and be seen, where London can kind of like, it's too many people and everyone is going forward. So there's some sort of like normalcy, some sort of sense of community as well in this kind of place. So yeah, that's it.
Nice. I always ask why the where. So you kind of hinted at it. So how did you come to be living, working, and playing in the UK, number one, and then going from Halifax to Leeds?
So, living and working in the UK, I would say that it kind of started from what kind of life do I want for myself, and what kind of value do I think I can give, and where can I go to that can allow me do those kind of things and be that kind of person, right? Now, living in Nigeria, Nigeria is a tough place, right? There's so many dreams that I would say are being killed in Nigeria just because of the way the country is set up, right? It's not exactly set up for you to be able to thrive, if that makes sense, right? And be successful. And I'm like, the kind of life that I see myself living and the kind of value I think I can give, I don't think that Nigeria was able to give it to me or can give it to me, right? So I'm like, you know what? I need to get out of here, right? And the funny thing is that I didn't usually used to think about leaving Nigeria or relocating before, right? Until I think in 2020, where, we had this whole NSAS. So it was then I was like, you know what? I need to get out of here. If what I have in my head and the picture I'm painting for myself, if I want it to come to fruition, right? I don't think I can do that in Nigeria, right? Which is why, I moved to the UK. And even going into the UK, it wasn't like, a walk in the park or whatever. It was, I'm in the UK through the Global Talent, right?
Okay.
Yeah, visa. And, I had to go into doing that to be able to get here. And it wasn't easy because like the first time I did it, it wasn't like I got it. I mean, they rejected me. They were like, no, you need to tell us again why you need to come here. And, I think that experience in itself just taught me like how much you can be doing, but it might not be valuable. And if you get what,
yeah.
One of the things that the experience or one of the things that you have to do for you to be able to get the visa is you have to tell a story about yourself. You have to tell somebody who does not know you about you and things that you have done. So this is not like, you want to tell a flowery story and something that is not verifiable. Now, this is somebody miles away and all they have is a 15-page document about you. How do you craft your story and tell them what is important? That experience really taught me about focusing on the things that really drive the needle, the things that really drive value. Because I was trying to take stock of things I've done and there was just a lot of, no, I can't put this here. Oh, yes, I can put this here. Oh, yeah, I can put it. Helped me structure what it really is like for you to be able to say, this is my tangible contribution. I know I can contribute to this economy, to this country because I have done X, Y, Z, right? So it was a really good experience. And, now I'm here in the UK and, still working in the company I was working at Fincra because, I believe in the vision and what we're trying to do. And it's like, it's been pretty easy. And it's been pretty easy because like in my head, making the transition, it's not like I thought it was going to be a walk in the park. It's not like I thought I was coming to, it's this green pasture, because that's typically the kind of trap that people fall into when they're in a new country trying to relocate, establish themselves. It's like, Nigeria is not working. So I'm going to the UK to this place where it's going to be all bed and roses. No. So I went with the mindset of, this is going to be a new place. This is going to be someplace I've never been in, new people, new everything. But I know what I want to come and do here. So I'm just going to keep that at the front of my mind and understand that there will be challenges and there'll be things I will try to walk around and, systems I'll try to figure out because it's so different.
Yeah.
So different. But yeah, here I am.
Wow. I want to find out more about the global talent visa, right? So how did you figure out that was your pathway? And what role, so you were working with Fincra before transitioning to the UK. And so what role did they play in you being able to get the visa or sponsorship, anything like that? Tell us about that story.
I would say they play a good role, like a major role, because one of the things that you have to also show is like where you're working. While this visa, you don't necessarily need to have like a beefed up a bank account and, proof of funds and all of that, but you just need to show that you have some value and that, you can contribute. Like basically it's called global talents. Like you are a global talent.
Yeah.
So you're a talent that the country literally needs.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So from that lens, it's like you have to take stock of things that you have done up until like where you are at now and let them know the impact of that.
Got it.
Right. So I would say like Fincra was very instrumental because like I had to use the things that I've done at Fincra, right, to be able to like add a layer of the story. Also talked about what I did at Aella. Also talking about my background in advertising. So it's kind of like a layered story in that I started this way. I did this here. I was able to achieve this. I moved here and this is what I was able to do. And it's not just me saying it. It's also other people saying it. Because one of the things you need to do is not just say, oh, anybody can come and say, I can do this. But who knows that you've done it? And what can they say about what you've done? So it's in two parts, which really helps, where it's like, okay, I've told the story, this is what I've done. And then I also have references, right? The CEO, where I've worked before, other colleagues, other clients that I've worked with, other partnerships that I've been a part of. And, the people places I've spoken at, right? Events I've been at, for Fincra and for myself. All of those things, gathering all of those sources together, sending the documentation, pictures, having the event organizers to write the recommendation of, oh, why did we tell Jemima to come and speak? And, what was the impact and all of that. So everything, all of that put together was kind of like what made up the totality of what I presented and kind of like how I got the visa at the end of the day, right? And when I got the visa, I wasn't serving as the senior vice president, though I was in a leadership role, which is marketing role, but there was that potential. Even the reference that was made by my CEO as well also referenced that okay, this is somebody who has the potential, who would be given more things to even do in the UK, right, as it pertains to the company. And that was pretty much like how I got here.
Nice.
And I got it, yeah.
Right. And what the process was about a year? How long?
Yeah, it was about a year. So I would say in total, because you have to first think about you want to do it and then think about gathering the data and then putting it together. The application itself is not really like, the big deal. It's more of the gathering of the data. So I would say it took about maybe 6 to 10 months because I had applied initially and I'd gotten rejected, right? So I had to wait maybe like some 2-3 months so I could get more of like the story together.
Sure. Yeah.
And then reapplied. And then, it typically takes like, I think maybe 4 to 8 weeks for you to get a response, right? So
wow.
the whole process itself is like, you get a response. And then once you get a response, they'll tell you, come pick your BRP in the UK and, all of that. It's pretty easy. I think one of the reasons why I also went with this route is apart from the fact that it seemed the quickest to leave Nigeria, it also seemed the most aligned, right? In terms of like what I do, where I'm at and the space that I play in. So it just seemed like a no-brainer where it's like, okay, this thing exists. If I can just get into it and then merge both of them together, then what's stopping me, right?
Yeah.
So that was pretty much it. It was like, oh, do I want to wait to go to Canada or, look at going to other places where it might take longer for me? If this path already exists where it's like a smooth pathway to, getting my indefinite leave to remain in the UK, a passport, whatever, opening me up to, this world where being in Nigeria might have caged me, then, was just an easy decision to make, really.
When you said that Nigeria can be a dream killer, I feel that in so many parts of our Africa, right? And so what was your dream, before you went into this world of tech and marketing and branding. What was your dream? How did you start on this path?
That's a very big question. I would say that I am a very impact-driven person. And for me, wherever it is that there is impact, you'll find me there. So it's not just about impacting people, like, building things and it's about like, how do you even build a thing and get people to even understand what you've built and open up the access for them? Like, what's the impact really that you want to like really, really give to people? So if I bring this to like maybe my commercial work or whatever, it's like in two parts. You say, okay, first layer is customers. You want to get customers, you want to get them to use your products, you want to get them to, but then the second part is like the practical human emotion. How are you giving confidence? How are you expanding access in a way that is meaningful, right? How are you, it's not about you're doing it first, but how are you sort of like building something that matters, telling people why it matters, and then merging it together to see why it is important for them to do. So for me, it's always been a thing of impact. You would always find me where there is impact. Even while I was working at an agency, right? Usually a place where I would say there's a tendency for you not to really see what you're doing come through, because you're working for big businesses and multinationals. They have big budget. They have so many things that, they are dabbling their hands into and budget into. I always usually look for that tiny small thing that I could do that would drive the impact. It didn't really matter if it was maybe a social post. It didn't really matter if it was maybe just one campaign. It was just that thing where it's like, if it's one person that gets it, or if it's like just a handful of people that thing impacts, I'm good. So impact has always been what drives me. And I think that's also still why I'm at Fincra today, because it's like the impact of what we're trying to do, building infrastructure and, ensuring that there's access for anybody really in Africa to be able to be a part of the global economy, I think is incredibly hard to do. But I think that like the impact is going to be massive.
Let's build those. Let's help people find their dreams and live their dreams.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like anything that can get people to grow, anything that can get people to, open up access, anything that can get people to see that there is more and there can always be more. I'm always there. I'm always in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So take us on the path of your experience in the fintech space. Because Aella was a fintech, microfinance, right? And so from that initial experience, I'm assuming that was your first kind of crash course in fintech in Africa in particular, and then transitioning into Fincra. So tell us about both of those businesses, the differences between them, and then how they're now making as a force in changing the landscape.
Okay, I would say that in terms of transition, right? I'd say that the way I see my transition is kind of like building one layer of capability and then carrying it into a bigger layer, right? So early on, agency, marketing agency work, communication, it kind of like taught me, okay, how do I understand my audiences, right? What kind of things can I put together to be able to sharpen my messages? How do I make the big idea, big campaign? How do I make it stick? Right? I mean, so having all of that, what will I call it now?
Having all of like the tools.
Yeah,
you have the tools.
all of those tools. It wasn't really hard, taking it into the fintech space, right? Because it was just like, how do I apply what I have learned into this space? It's nothing beyond what I have not learned and nothing beyond like what I didn't know how to do. It was now just a matter of, I'm now in this space where it's more focused. Agencies like so many people. Oh, you have the FMCG, you have the bank, you have this, and that you're trying to speak to. So many people you're speaking to at the same time, right? But then this is more like just one industry. How do you still connect, right? How do you still give people the value? And I think that coming into Fincra gave me like the opportunity to sort of like grow and enter those small specific spaces. When I was at Aella, it was more, because Aella was a microfinance, but at the time, actually, it was a loan. It was strictly for loan.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't like a bank per se.
Yeah.
It was just loans. So it was even hard to, do a bit of like, because that was the first time I first transitioned. So it was kind of like, okay, loan this. There was so many things to work out in terms of like speaking to the customers, because now I was I was closer to the customers than where I was coming from in the agency, right? It took a bit of like just getting used to figure it out. And at the time when I was not even figuring it out from a B2C perspective, then I went to Fincra, which is like a business to business fintech, which is a different ball game. Or it's shifted me to think beyond just, brand visibility, where I was coming from in market, in agency, right? And, thinking about, okay, revenue quality, partnership, go to market systems, how do I design teams around growth? How do I ensure that I'm selling infrastructure? It sounds like an abstract thing, but like, how do I sell it in a way where I'm thinking more about the growth aspect of it? I'm thinking more about like, how do I tell a good story with this infrastructure? Even bringing together everything I've learned from like my agency life. So for me, the transition is just building one layer of capability and then taking it into the other layer, because it's just everything I learn, I build up on it and I take it into the next stage. I might get into a new role tomorrow. And this is like a running joke in my company, because like I've moved around a lot in the company. It's like today is like there's something that needs to get done. Put Jemima on it. Let's get it done. It could get overwhelming sometimes, but like I also enjoy it because it opens me up to like the different aspect of things that I can know about. As a generalist, I call myself a generalist. Even when I was in marketing, even though, marketing, my core was content, I could do a bit of everything and a little bit of everything, right? So getting into that space where it's like in the company, it's like, oh, get Jemima on it, get Jemima to do it, get Jemima to do it. It works for me because like for me, transition is not something I'm very averse to. I'm just like, I already have the tool.
Sure.
I already have the information. I already have the basic. And that's all I need.
So what is it? What is Fincra? Tell us.
Right. So Fincra is a cross-border payments infrastructure company for businesses and individuals, really, to be able to send and receive payments across the continent seamlessly, right? Everybody talks about there's a lot of fintech. There's not nearly enough that can even solve all of our issues in Africa, right? But beyond the fintech, what people need is the foundation, like the infrastructure, right? The thing that makes the fintech grow, if you will. Because there are a lot of fintechs, they don't have the tools to be able to say, oh, you know what? I want to hire 1 million developers. I want to build this, build that. But Fincra has it. Come and take one API, integrate it into your system, and then build products, right? And in the same way for a business too, was like, I want to send a payment to my whatever in China. I want to, collect payments from, my contractor in Europe. How am I going to be able to collect that payment and pay them back? That's pretty much what we're doing. Like, and everything has to do with the infrastructure that allows everything move. So it's kind of like Africa. When you think about it, all African countries have their own different regulation, different way money moves, different way trade moves. Not everyone is going to want to go to all of those countries to be able to figure out everything that you need to figure out in that country to be able to do business. So that's where somewhere like Fincra comes in. We go into countries, we figure out the infrastructure, we figure out everything, we get the licenses, figure out what we need to do, put everything together. You come, you say you need it, we give it to you. You don't have to go and do all of the hard work. We've done it for you. The reason why we're doing this is because we know that this is where the pain is for a lot of business. It's not like there are no businesses in Nigeria. Like I said, in Africa, like I was saying about Nigeria earlier, where I was like, there are a lot of, talent. It's not like there are no people who can do business in Africa. It's not like, Africans don't want to be a part of the global economy. It's just that there's no access. It's just that infrastructure just doesn't exist for them to be able to do this. It's just that, it's so expensive, for instance, to get a license in Ghana. So what am I to do? Would I not do business? Let's help you. That's pretty much what it is.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you see why I say impact, I need to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's so interesting that you said because when I was at the summit, my feeling was that, everything is about payments, payment gateways. Like it felt like the tech summit was only a fintech summit. basically. And so for you to now put it in perspective that with all of us who were there at the summit, we're still not enough, right? Because there's a need for, I mean, competition in general, but the access, you can serve this only so many at this point. Eventually you can serve much more, but the fact that we have, because a question that someone asked recently of me is what do you think is the most overhyped sector for where finance is going? And in my mind, I said fintech, because I feel like what we're missing before fintech are the things that make fintech more relevant. And so you being in the fintech sector, do you think it's overhyped? How could you prove me wrong?
Here's the thing. Here's how I'm going to prove you wrong. I don't know if you tried to do any kind of payments when you were in Kenya.
Yes.
How easy was it?
You have to, right? Because you have M-Pesa, so you have to do that. So fortunately in Kenya, they've done a lot of the work, right? So you have the M-Pesa system integrates Western banking. So my PayPal can communicate with that. Ideally, I would love not to have to go through, I would love that to be not PayPal, but something that's on the continent.
Something that's local, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. When you think about it from that lens, it's like, yes, there are a lot of fintech apps and, all of these other people and things, but like there's more from the connection that needs to happen. Like it's easier for me to, how do I say, in Europe, it's easier for countries within Europe to transact.
Yeah.
And do trade than easier for African countries to transact.
Absolutely.
Easier for you to travel from Nigeria to Europe than for you to travel from Nigeria to Tanzania.
Yes.
When you think about is the system that connects, or that is supposed to connect Africa as Africans, is kind of like fragmented. Like the systems don't talk to each other. Countries don't talk to each other, right? That's where the infrastructure is. That's where we are coming to say, because think about it, when we say we are going to all of these countries to get the license and get the infrastructure, and we're putting it all into one API where it's just one person can just come, integrate it, and they have access to these other countries. They don't have to go and do any other thing. So think about maybe like a Gray, for instance, which is working in Kenya, and then Gray is working in Ghana, and then Gray is working in Tanzania, and then Gray is working, and then all of these other fintechs all working across and speaking to themselves. Then it's easier for money to flow. Like you're not going to be able to say, oh, I need to change my dollars every time. Or,
right.
oh, I need to, do you understand?
Yeah.
You're in Ghana and you can pay your supplier in Kenya. You're in Nigeria and you can pay somebody in Cameroon. So that's really where it's at. On the surface, it seems like, oh, everything is saturated. We have everything. But when you really go to those countries and you try to spend, and you try to
where
pay
the pain is.
That's where you see where the pain is.
And that's where market growth is stifled for businesses.
Exactly.
So they
can't grow, they can't get more customers, they can't get more businesses, they just can't expand because the money can go in and the money can go out. It's what happened to DSTV. I think they are almost leaving either Nigeria now or something. Like there's a lot of funds that cannot go in and out within African countries, and even African countries and out, that needs to happen. Like Africa is just like taking a piece of the economy. Like the trade that happen, the amount of that Africa trades is more than the intra, than between Africa and other countries, than then, trading within African countries. It's all because of payments. It's all because of the fragmented, no payment system. Everything is just, everyone is trying to hold everything close to their heart. The banks don't want to release their APIs and, let people know, some of the things that they can use to integrate. So those are some of the battles that we're currently fighting and things we're trying to really work on. Let's all open up ourselves. Like, let's connect, let's integrate, let's come together. Nobody is saying we need to spend one currency in Africa. We can have our currencies, but let's make it easier for ourselves to be able to trade with those currencies and bring more prosperity into Africa.
How many countries are you in?
So currently, 9+, I think.
Okay.
7, 8.
Okay. Okay.
For all the countries that were not, like all the countries, so Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, Morocco, Malawi, where else?
Not South Africa.
South Africa as well. Yeah,
okay.
South Africa.
Okay. What about Francophone?
So we are there, kind of, but through like partnership. So currently, I mentioned the licensing thing. So we're currently trying to get our license in Cameroon. But in fact, literally, we have one of our partnership team members is it Chad now?
Oh, okay.
or one of those. Yeah.
The really marginalized economies. Like that's one of the big
Yeah, so
ones.
trying to like
Yeah.
find out like, everything that is happening in there. In fact, they don't even speak English and all of that jazz. So there's so much, trying to figure out there. But yeah, we do currently do business like there. We do collections and payouts for businesses in Cameroon and the Zavzov region, but we're actively chasing our own license as well.
So interesting. It makes me think of this is the new information highway.
Absolutely. Let's like Fincra we're trying to do big things, a lot of things. We're gonna add cards, stable coin, all these things that in other economies they are using to sort of like optimize their own payment systems and solutions and move money faster. We also want to like, get into that and help out, because the more we're able to do that, the more people are able to build on top of the infrastructure, and the more we're able to like get this payment thing out of the way. Like it's so crazy. You can barely spend within African currency.
Yes. Yeah.
It just does not make sense. And you're like, what do we need to do to get, like, a lot of them are closing up, there's so many closed up. Let me close up my border. Let me close up my, no, not literal border. Like, let me just close up my API. Let me close up there's no access, right? Now, think about a situation where there's a customer. I'm in Kenya. I'm a customer in Kenya, but I also have like another app that I'm using in Nigeria, right? Between Kenya and Nigeria, I should be able to understand who I am. Do you get, like, share my information, like, so there's no fraud or whatever. But you see that they are not giving that information freely. So then I have to go on board and on board and on board and on board and give multiple people my data, and
problem.
There's so many things.
Yeah. So this is good to know. Good to know. You brought up a good point, is where does policy sit in this? And so in your role or in the sector, how difficult has it been to work in the policy space? And where do you see the movement in policy to ease the laying of infrastructure?
Policy is always a hard one, because like there's so many, for lack of a better word, powers that be.
Yeah.
And, you have to make them understand, right? Or make the people as aware who sit at the heart of this policy to understand like what needs to get done. We're very, very close to CBN, Nigeria. Like we have conversations, we talk about policies together, So on some level, I would say that policy-wise, some countries are opening up and, giving infrastructure companies and, people who are doing great a seat at the table to say, okay, come, let's have this is what you're saying. Okay, can we regulate crypto? How do we ensure that the money that is coming into the country is legit funds? What are the compliance controls we can put into place to be able to do some of this business? Not that we just want to totally shut it off and say, oh no crypto payments. Oh no, this kind of payment is not allowed. But what are some of the guardrails that we can put in place for us to be able to do this business? So I'll say policy-wise, right now, the more people talk about it, and the more like people like companies like Fincra are like leading charge and getting more people, the more there is some receptance. Of course, when there's going to be a policy change or something that is coming and, giving some sort of, maybe you need to optimize this, there's always going to be a lot of resistance, because the fact that it's working the way it's working is more money into some people's pockets, if you get what I mean, right? So that means some people love it like that. Hey, don't change anything. Even though they know that not changing it is going to be detrimental, but they don't care. So now it's like, how do you balance that up? And everything is all about relationship. So we build a lot of relationship. Like, we're very heavy in Fincra on partnership. So you see our partnership teams, they travel to like Morocco, Cameroon, go and speak to the banks, go and speak to the movers and shakers, tell them, okay, this is what we're trying to do. Also not rushing it, because I think one thing we realize is that when you rush and you can't try to say, oh, let's make policy change, it's just like, I get it. So you want to like ease into it and let everyone or people who sit around this whole policy table understand what you're trying to do, and then bring more people. So I would say it's better than where we're coming from. There is definitely more room for improvement and where to go. But like right now, there's some spaces that are opening up, and conversations that are happening around, how to build and optimize some of these archaic policies that are keeping us. But that's what I would say on that end.
Yeah. If you were to think about the ideal stakeholder team that gets it done, right? Because you mentioned the banks, who's at the lead? Is it the industries? Is it the business organizations? Is it the governments? Like who's kind of the lead character and then brings everyone along? Because ultimately these are public-private partnerships that should be facilitating this growth and market growth and all those things. So what are your thoughts on who?
So I would say that, well, because there has to be somebody that leads the charge.
Exactly.
It has to be everyone, right? I was going to say everyone, but there has to be somebody that leads the charge. And I would just say, like, is the Fincrans. What does that mean? That means people that really believe that, thing has to work and this thing can work. Because tell you what, it can also get tiring where you're trying to like a lot of people to say, Africa, let's do this, let's, come together, let's build this, let's drive this economy, let's, do everything we need to do. It can get tiring because like, sometimes you might not get like the wither will you need, but Afincrans, and the concept of Afincran is like, you have to be anti-fragile. So I don't think it really, I would really say, is maybe the government,
right,
or maybe like business, but it's people like Fincra, for instance, that are saying, okay, let's all come together and do this. The more we speak, it creates like this ripple effect that then goes into the little corners, and then, we can then start to add. It just takes really one person or a couple of businesses who really are about that life and know what that life about to say, okay, let's come together and get this done, which is intersection where Fincra also sits at the moment.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. And I think also, particularly where you are in the organization on this communication, so what the beat is on the ground. So you are hearing directly from the users. And so this is democratizing the process to a degree.
Exactly.
Yeah. So speaking of words and democratizing, we want to hear what you hear. So we'd like you to share a word, a phrase, or saying that is a meaningful part of your local experience and why or how you came to value it as Glocal speak.
I think the word will be, we move.
Yep. We move.
We move. I mean, it sounds really simple and, just, we move, of course you got to move. But like, I think it holds, like it carries a lot of weight. I think it reflects like, like what I just talked about.
Yeah,
anti-fragile.
exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It reflects your ability to adapt, if you get what I mean. Like, you're not waiting for perfection. You're not looking at the imperfections. You're just like, let's just keep moving. So it's like, we move, keep moving, acknowledging that obviously there's going to be challenges. There's going to be things that would, come as a stumbling block, but not surrendering to it and just like keep on moving with intention, understanding that like there's impact, you're driving impact and you're just moving. So I'll just say we move. That's it. Like we always move regardless of what's happening.
I'm assuming because you're working across borders, you hear it and you're able to share it in the context of let's do this often.
Exactly. Like moving across borders, like everywhere is like move. Let's move.
Yeah. Awesome. So I want to talk a little bit more about being a woman in finance, because there's that, right? Because it's a male-dominated sector to a large degree, and you are in a pivotal role in terms of guiding an organization to do and be in-house. So how has your experience been leading as a woman in a male-dominated sector and also in mentoring or bringing other women along with you?
That's a very good question. So leading as a woman, so here is how I think about it. I see it, but I also don't see it. And I would explain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I see it from this side of like count in terms of, okay, there's like 1, 2, 3 or person, and then there's one person that is a woman, right? But then I don't see it in terms of like capability and ability. I don't know if you get what I mean, right? So from that lens, it helps me to sort of like deal with it. I'm able to, I know I'm a leader. I know I'm in a leadership position and I'm able to carry myself accordingly, and I'm able to like get, how do I say, I'm able to get the work. I'm able to get people. I'm able to lead as a leader, not because, oh, I'm a woman that is a leader. That's pretty much how I see it. And then in terms of like, but I'm also not oblivious to the fact that there is low access for women, which is also why on my own end, I always say that I'm all for women's right and wrongs. But yeah, I'm always like giving the opportunities. Like it's kind of like this theme for the Women's Day, for this International Women's Day. I think it had to do with opening the door, whatever. The way I think about it is like, yeah, I'm in the door, but like I'm opening it for those that come in behind me. And then telling those that come in behind me that the fact that I'm opening the door does not mean that, oh, that just means you just get into the door and not do what is expected. Like it has to create
accountability. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're accountable and then you're also keeping it more open for the ones that are coming behind you.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. And when I flip it from opening the door and I bring it into like the work, it's like, that's why I'm going to be as excellent as I can be when I'm doing my work. Like I'm always going to do my work excellently, like, because I want to be that model woman that is like, that is my own way of opening the door. I've opened the door. I've showed you that you can be excellent. You can get into this leadership role. So hold your own, do what is expected of you, and then ensure that those coming behind you are also getting it easy. So every time when I find myself in a space where I'm able to, make some changes that I know that would help or give the women that are coming behind me more access, I'm always there. Like I'm not even always like at work, every single place. Like they always like, yeah, Jemima has come. It's always about the women. Yes, it's always about the women. But like I don't because I understand that it can be so hard and it can be so when you're, trying to get into these spaces and like, sometimes they're not even considering you. For the longest time, it was just men that are in leadership position, right?
Exactly.
If I'm here, then you can also be there.
Yeah.
So I will do the work where I find myself to be able to like create the system, make the structure better for those coming behind me. But then I'll also leave the door open and ensure that those coming behind me also have accountability to keep it open for those behind them, and on and on and on and on like that.
Yeah.
Going to be my own, the way I see.
Yeah. Sounds like a mindset hack, so to speak. But tell us, what is your mindset hack? How do you get in the zone, flip the switch? What do you do?
Let me tell you what my mindset hack is. I separate noise from the signal.
That's a good one.
Where I've worked, and even just in leadership, like you would know, there's usually a lot of urgency. There's usually a lot of, decision to be made, distractions, everything. But what I do is I ask myself, okay, wait, what is the leveler here? What is going to actually change the outcome? That kind of question, it keeps me grounded, helps me make like better decisions, right? So it's like, I just separate the signal from the noise, really. I try to focus on what is the most important, what is going to change the outcome, what I can control. Right? Because a lot of times people try to focus a lot on what is not within their sector of influence.
Yeah.
What you can control. Because there are so many things that you can control, but there is a lot that you can control. So my own mindset is always, what is the signal? What is the noise? Ruthlessly prioritizing, focusing on the one that makes the most meaningful shift and outcome for me. And that's it. It's not always easy. I'm going to tell you, like, it's not all the time that I get that, like, well, it's always at the back of my mind. Like, I'm always there, like, okay, ruthlessly prioritize signal, clearing which one is which, what do I focus on? Let me prioritize my time, like focus on what is within my circle of influence and get it done, and not bother about what I can't control.
That's a great leadership hack too. Like your mindset, but just in terms of being able to show up and be a leader, priceless.
Really?
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah. So let's think about what's new and next for you. So what is Fincra doing, moving into? What are you moving into? I hear you're podcasting. So tell us what's new and next and now.
I'm podcasting. I've started my podcast like 2018 or so. It's on and off. I have a host as well. And
what's the name? What's the name of the podcast?
The Shrine podcast.
Okay.
We call it the Shrine podcast. And, it derived from, I don't know if you know Fella, obviously. You know Fella.
Yeah.
Shrine, where it's like, okay, you come to this place where any and everybody, I don't know if you've been there. Have you been to Nigeria?
Oh, yeah, several times. Yeah.
But you've never been to the Shrine?
No.
Oh.
Next time.
Wow.
I'll have to go.
You should. Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
So it's like any and everybody, like you can see somebody coming in their suit, like come down in their car, and in the same vein, you can see somebody bare bathroom slippers, and everyone is just in there having a good time. So that's like the concept where it's like, come, no bars, like everyone is welcome. Come talk. We explore like curiosity, talk about like our own, point of view, and, just have conversations, have guests, and, all of that. I care a lot about like conversation that like probes curiosity, probes like your reflection about life, culture, just thoughtful, meaningful conversation that it's not that serious, but it's just, how do I feel about this? Like, what's my own curiosity about this thing?
Yeah.
And we just talk about it. So that's what,
I love it. Sounds fun.
Yeah, fun. I mean, Fincra is always all about work. We're going to expand to a couple of other countries, coming Mozambique, Malawi, Egypt, Ethiopia.
Love it.
Some things to be done on that end. And yeah, just trying to get this Africa into the global economy piece by piece, and, giving the impact, adding the impact as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing much. I just got back from like a 1.5 week out of office, leave. This is the first in the last 2 years.
Oh,
like,
wow.
I hadn't taken any time off. So,
Good
so
for
that
you. You look relaxed.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And I just got back, but it's all been firefighting since I got back. But that rest was really, really needed. So yeah.
Okay. So we always want to know who you are. You started to tell a little bit who you are when you're not working. So are you a reader? Are you a watcher? Are you a listener? And what are some of your favorite reads, watches, or listens? Or what else do you do in your off the clock time?
Off the clock time, I would say I'm a watcher. I watch a lot of, sometimes shows that I don't have any business watching. But yeah, I watch. I'm a watcher. I'm currently watching or rewatching The Mentalist. I don't know if you've seen it, but I loved it. Like when I watched it like years ago when I was young, and I was like, you know what? Let me rewatch it and probably help me like see, because it's also about like trying to do things that people don't typically would see, like those little tiny details, right? Helping as well with my mind, like trying to look beyond the obvious, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it. In terms of reads, I'm not that much of a reader. I used to be many years ago, but right now it's just, I'm currently reading The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey, right? Very interesting, important book for every leader, anybody really that wants to be like effective, successful. So that's kind of like what I do right now in my reading. I just pick like a book and just read it out for months and months and months on ending.
Like you're studying it.
Yeah. And obviously like my podcasts, just.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Oh, Jemima, I've had such a nice time catching up with you. This has been great. And so before we sign off for today, do you have any last thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Last thoughts would be, we move.
Yeah.
You move. But I think for me, the last thoughts would just be like, wherever it is that you find yourself, always try to ensure that you're doing something impactful and meaningful. It doesn't really matter how small, big, large it is. Stay curious. Curiosity is going to take you places. Stay curious. Have an open mindset, and literally always keep moving.
Yeah. I love it. All right, Glocal citizens, this has been another episode of the podcast. You can catch us Tuesdays with new episodes at glocalcitizenspod.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Please do like, share, subscribe, leave us a review. Check out the show notes. There are some tech terms and finance terms that you may not know, which will be in the show notes, as well as a link to Jemima's podcast and so much more. So please do check those out. And until next time, bye for now.